girls and boys. Today we're going to... Wait a minute. Something's wrong with this picture, wouldn't you agree? Let me see what I can do to fix it. Hang on a second. There we go. That's better. Today we're going to... Wait a minute. Something's still not quite right. I can't seem to put my finger on it. Let me try again. Okay. Today we're going to... No, still wrong. Ah, there it is. Today we're going to learn about illusions. And an illusion is when you think you see or hear or experience something that is different from the way it really is. There are different kinds of illusions, and today we're going to learn about optical illusions, and those are illusions that you see. They're really interesting. Let's jump right in. Take a look at this photo. This photo was taken in the middle of the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat in Bolivia. In the dry season, this area is completely flat and white, making photos like this one possible. Look at the picture and read the caption. Well, we've already read the caption. Let's take a look at this picture. Can you explain what you see? How do you think this photo was taken? Well, we already know that this photo was taken in the salt flats of Bolivia. But what is this a picture of? It looks like a picture of a tiny person standing in a spoon. Or maybe it's a photo of a giant's hand holding a regular-sized person in a giant spoon. But is that really what this is? How do you think this photo was taken? That's right. The man is standing far away from the person who is holding the spoon. The camera is placed just right so that it looks like the person who is far away is standing in the spoon that is really up close to the camera. These things create the illusion that a tiny person is standing in a spoon. Pretty cool, huh? Have you seen illusions like this before? Let's take a look at a video. This week's video is about a phenomenon called parasomnia, or sleepwalking.
For most people, sleeping is easy. For others, it can be a real nightmare. Some people dream of being attacked and might even fight with their partners while they sleep. Other people get up and walk around in their sleep without knowing what they're doing. These sleep conditions, called parasomnia, can be dangerous. Scientists are hoping to find out why they happen. REM sleep is the stage of sleep when we dream. Parasomnia happens during a time in the sleep cycle called NREM, or non-REM. NREM contains 4 stages. During stage 1, your brain is producing small waves, and you are in a light sleep. In stage 2, your body relaxes, and your heartbeat and breathing get slower. The brain waves are larger and become further apart. The deepest sleep is during stages 3 and 4. For most of us, our brains shut off sounds and movement from the outside world. But for sleepwalkers, the lower part of the brain wakes up, while the upper part, the thinking brain, or the mind, is asleep. This is why sleepwalkers are able to move around at night, and yet they don't remember it the next day. With further research, scientists hope one day to fully explain this mysterious condition.
That was an interesting video on parasomnia, wasn't it? Did you know that scientists call sleepwalking parasomnia? By the way, the video describes the stages of sleep. There are many stages of NREM sleep and one stage of REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. During REM sleep, your eyes are moving all around very rapidly. In the many stages of NREM sleep, or non-rapid eye movement sleep, your eyes are not moving around. I thought you might find that interesting. Let's take a look at some multiple choice questions. There are 3 questions. The video says people who fight in their sleep may A. Be angry with their partner, B. Be worried about a problem, or C. Be dreaming about being attacked. Don't answer yet. Let's look at the other 2 questions first. The second question is, when people wake up with parasomnia, they A. Think they're still in a dream, B. Remember their dreams clearly, or C. Don't know what they've done. And here's the third question, or incomplete sentence. When people sleepwalk, their blank is awake. Is it their upper brain that's awake? Is the middle brain awake? Or is it the lower brain that's awake? Take a minute now to answer these questions. We'll review when you're done. How'd you do? The video says that people who fight in their sleep may be dreaming about being attacked. Oh boy, that's scary, isn't it? Have you ever had a dream like this? I don't think I've ever sleepwalked, but I have done some pretty silly things in my sleep, like crawling out of the bed and throwing a pillow across the room. That's pretty funny, huh? Luckily, I didn't do anything that was dangerous or harmful to myself or anyone else. How about number 2? When people with parasomnia wake up, they don't remember what they've done. I've heard that it's unsafe to wake up a person with parasomnia while they're sleepwalking. Do you know if this is true? Number 3, when people sleepwalk, their blank is awake. Do you remember the correct answer? It's their lower brain, that's right. Sometimes this is called the reptilian brain. Part B, matching. In the 4 stages of non-rapid eye movement sleep, different things happen. Can you match the stages of NREM sleep with their descriptions? There are descriptions of 7 different indicators or events. Here they are. Your body relaxes. You're in deep sleep. You sleep lightly. Brain waves are small. Heartbeat and breathing get slower. Brain waves are large and far apart, and your brain shuts off sound and movements from the outside world. Now, which of these descriptors happen in the different stages of non-REM sleep? Do you remember? If you don't remember, go back and watch the video again. I'll give you 1 minute to put the descriptions in the correct stages, starting now. how'd you do? In stage 1, you sleep lightly, and your brain produces small waves. In stage 2, your body relaxes, your heartbeat and your breathing slow down, and your brain waves are large and far apart. In stages 3 and 4, you're in deep sleep. Your brain shuts off sound and movements from the outside world. Pretty interesting, huh? Time for today's reading, Seeing the Impossible. Here are today's language targets. Confused, illusion, in short, to play tricks, and to trust your eyes or your senses. Let's check out paragraphs 1 and 2. Can you believe everything you see? Not always. Sometimes our minds and our eyes make mistakes. At other times, our eyes and minds can become confused. This may be because we're looking at something called an optical illusion. The word optical means related to sight, the way we see things with our eyes. An illusion is something that looks different from the way it really is. In short, an optical illusion is a kind of trick that our eyes play on us. Take a look at this word, confused. There's a footnote for that. A confused person is unable to think clearly. We have 2 vocabulary words in these 2 paragraphs and 4 language targets. Confused, illusion, in short, and a kind of trick that our eyes play on us. Let's check out the vocabulary first. A mistake is an action or decision that is wrong. Now, I have a cat who loves to go outside. She's not supposed to go outside. One time she got out. I made a mistake. My cat climbed up into the tree, and it took me a while to rescue her. That was a mistake. But that's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes are an important part of the learning process. In fact, did you know that AI makes billions of mistakes so that it can learn? It's true. The same is true for computers. So the next time someone tells you not to make a mistake, you should say, "But how am I supposed to learn anything if I don't make mistakes?" Related means connected or belonging to the same family or group. Did you know that your senses of taste and smell are related? Have you ever been sick and not been able to taste anything or smell anything? That's because your senses of taste and smell are related. The word confused means unable to think clearly. You may feel confused if you're not sure which way to go. You'll feel confused if you wake up in a strange place, like on an airplane. Mongo was sure he remembered where he left his bananas, but he couldn't quite find them. Mongo was confused. Jane was confused by all the choices she had to make. She wasn't sure what to do. She was confused. Let's practice. The word confused means unable to think clearly. Can you think of a time recently when you felt confused? I was confused in the beginning of this video when I couldn't figure out what was going on with all the strange eyeball-looky things. That made me confused. Yeah. An illusion is something that seems different from the way it really is. Here is an example of an illusion. Is this a 2D object or a 3D object? How can you be sure? Well, what's really going on here? Oh, looking at this thing makes my eyes hurt. It is a very effective illusion. I can't really tell what this thing is. It looks like it's going this way, and then it starts to go down, and then it kind of disappears into itself. Here is a better representation of this image. What will happen if the man walks straight ahead? Will he disappear? This is a very effective illusion because it's hard to make out exactly what you're seeing. Here's another example of an illusion. Can you tell where this object ends and where it begins? Don't stare at it for too long. You might get a headache. Here's another example of an illusion. Take a look at the 2 ovals. Which oval is darker? Is this one darker? Or is this one darker? Well, the 2 round oval shapes might look like they're different colors, But that's just an illusion. In fact, they are the same color. It's true, and that's what makes this an effective illusion. Let's practice. An illusion is something that seems different than the way it really is. What makes this round object an illusion? In short means in a few words. This movie was too long. The plot was confusing, and the characters were forgettable. The special effects were not very good, and the writing was bad. In short, it was a terrible movie. The cake was dry, the frosting was too sweet, and the decorations fell off. It didn't even look like The Little Mermaid. In short, it was a baking disaster. We had delicious food, fun games, and lots of laughs. In short, it was a perfect picnic. The book was filled with adventure, fascinating characters, and unexpected twists. In short, it was a fantastic read. Let's practice. In short means in a few words. Can you tell me what you know about illusions in short? To play tricks on means to confuse or cause problems for someone. The magician's quick hands played tricks on the audience's eyes. Jim's anxiety played tricks on him, keeping him awake all night. Alyssa watches too many scary movies. Her mind is playing tricks on her, and now she thinks there's a monster outside her window. The forecast called for sunshine today, but now it's starting to rain. I guess the weather is playing tricks on us. Let's practice. To play tricks on means to confuse or cause problems for someone. Has your mind ever played tricks on you? Paragraphs 3 and 4. Look at these optical illusions and compare what you see with what your classmates see, or your friends or your parents. The way we see things is often personal, so you may not see things the same way as someone else. So can you trust your eyes? Perhaps the answer is sometimes. Sometimes our eyes see something and our minds understand it easily. At other times, we may need to look twice. We have a language target in these two paragraphs: to trust your eyes or to trust your senses. To trust your eyes means to believe what you see. He couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the surprise party his friends had thrown for him. If you're at a magic show, be careful not to trust your eyes. When shopping for fruits and vegetables, it's important to trust your eyes and pick the best ones. As the detective examined the crime scene, she knew she could trust her eyes to spot even the smallest clues. Let's practice. To trust your senses means to believe what your senses tell you, and to trust your eyes means to believe what you see. When is it a good time to trust your eyes? Very good. Now, when is it not a good time to trust your eyes? Personal means belonging to a particular person rather than anyone else. You and your friends may like different types of music. Taste in music is personal. For example, you may prefer classical music. Your friend may prefer rock and roll. That's okay. Taste in music is personal. Trust is belief or sureness in someone or something. If you trust your eyes, it means you can believe that what you see is real. Can you trust your eyes? Sometimes. Paragraph 5. Which red dot is larger? Take a look. That's tricky, isn't it? Most people say it's the dot on the left. Now measure the dots. The dot on the left may seem larger because of the small black dots around it, but they're really the same size. Size is how big something is. The two red dots are actually the same size. Don't believe me? Take a look. Yep, they're the same size, all right. Paragraph 6. Look at this picture. What do you see? Do you see a cup or do you see two faces? Now look again. The illusion shows two different images at the same time. Therefore, our minds have to choose which image to look at. Scientists think this choice is difficult because different parts of your brain are getting different information. One part sees the cup and another part sees the faces. So the image keeps changing. I'm curious, which did you see first? The faces or the cup? Let's take a look at this vocabulary word, therefore. Therefore means for that reason, so, or as a result. Jane loves being outside. Therefore, she takes a walk every morning. Paragraph 7. Are the circles moving? Whoa, that is creepy. When you stare at this picture, your mind may tell you that the circles are moving, but this is impossible. How can a picture move? Some people think the circles seem to move because often when we see circle in circle shapes, like in car wheels or snake bodies, they are usually moving. Our brains are used to seeing these shapes move. So when our eyes see this shape, our mind infers that the image is moving. Other scientists believe the illusion of movement is caused by the tiny movements of our eyes as we look at the different colors and patterns of the picture. Which theory seems more accurate to you? I think the second theory seems more accurate, but that's just my personal opinion. Let's take a look at the word stare. To stare, whoa, hey there. Hi. To stare means to look at something constantly with eyes wide open. It's usually considered impolite to stare at another person. Because this is an owl, I guess I'll let it go this time. Impossible means not able to happen, exist, or be done. It is impossible for humans to breathe underwater unless they have scuba gear. Nice work! You've finished the reading. Time for today's discussion questions. Discussion question number 1. Do you have a favorite optical illusion? If so, what is it? Why do you think optical illusions continue to fascinate people even after they understand how they work? That's a good question, isn't it? I think that this is because people love to be excited and entertained. And one of the best ways to be excited or entertained is to think about or look at something that you don't fully understand. We may understand how illusions work, but it doesn't make them any less interesting, does it? Discussion question number 2. Do you think animals experience optical illusions in the same way humans do? That's another good question. I think it depends on the animal. Not all animals see things the same way humans do. For example, creatures with segmented eyes like insects don't see colors the same way humans do. So for them to look at an optical illusion might not trick their brains. And some animals don't see very well or can't see at all. So what do you think? Do you think animals experience optical illusions the same way humans do? Why or why not? Time for today's critical thinking questions. When is it a good time to trust your eyes? And why? I'll let you answer this question first. I think it's a good idea to trust your eyes when you know that what you're seeing is really true or really there. In other words, when you can believe what you're seeing. Does that make sense? When would it not be a good time to trust your eyes, and why? I'll give you an example. It would not be a good time to trust your eyes when you're watching a movie. Can you think of another example or a few examples of when it would not be a good time to trust your eyes? And by the way, I don't think it's a good idea to trust your eyes when you're watching a movie because many movies are fictitious. They depict or show things that are not true or real. Time for today's reading skill. Today's reading skill is understanding compound sentences. A compound sentence consists of or is made up of two simple sentences joined by a comma and a conjunction. That doesn't sound too complicated, does it? Look at these examples. I want to buy a new dictionary and I need some new notebooks. I want to buy a new dictionary is one sentence, and here's another sentence. I need to buy some new notebooks. When we join these two sentences with a comma and a conjunction, in this case, the word and, we can make a compound sentence. Pretty cool, huh? Here's another example. I want to buy a new dictionary, but I don't have any money. Can you identify the two sentences? I want to buy a new dictionary. I don't have any money. We can join these two sentences into one compound sentence with a comma and a conjunction. In this case, the word but. Here's another example. I might just buy a new dictionary, or I might borrow my friend's. You can see the two sentences there that are joined by a comma and a conjunction, the word or. And finally, I want to buy a new dictionary, so I'm going to the bookstore. Can you see the two sentences? How have we joined them together? With a comma and a conjunction, the word so. Now let's take a look at these conjunctions. Today we're looking at 4 conjunctions, which include and that's used to add information. But is used to contrast information or to show that the two sentences are different. Or is to show a choice, and so is used to show a result. Let's do some practice. In this part, we'll do some completion. Number 1, optical illusions are interesting to look at. Blank, they can be a lot of fun. Number 2, you can find optical illusions in books. Blank, you can find them online. Number 3, optical illusions play tricks on the mind. Blank, they can make people confused. Number 4, optical illusions use color, light, and patterns. Blank, they don't use sound. I'll give you 1 minute to choose the correct conjunctions for these sentences. Get ready and start now! How'd you do? Optical illusions are interesting to look at, and they can be a lot of fun. You can find optical illusions in books, or you can find them online. Optical illusions play tricks on the mind, so they can make people confused. Optical illusions use color, light, and patterns, but they don't use sound. Nice work. Let's do part B, which is also completion. Sometimes our eyes see something blank, our minds understand it easily. Number 2, the red dot on the left may seem larger because of the small blue dots around it. Blank, they're really the same size. Number 3, do you see a cup? Blank, do you see two faces? And number 4, one part sees the cup and another part sees the faces. Blank, the image keeps changing. Which conjunction will you use for each of these sentences? This time, I'll give you 30 seconds to choose the right answers, starting now. How'd you do? Number 1, sometimes our eyes see something and our minds understand it easily. Number 2, the red dot on the left may seem larger because of the small blue dots around it, but they're really the same size. Number 3, do you see a cup or do you see two faces? Number 4, one part sees the cup and another part sees the faces. So the image keeps changing. You get the idea, right? Good, because it's time for today's homework. We're going to practice making compound sentences in today's homework, which is a compound sentences worksheet. Everything you need is right there, and you might want to use your imagination too. That's it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed learning about optical illusions with me. Stick around for the retelling and writing video coming up next.